And if you are in, say, the IB curriculum, not the Cambridge curriculum, then this forms the part of what is known as pre-calculus. If you even see it, say schools in US and all, they'll study at this under the head called pre-calculus. This is the beginning of calculus, right? So look, first today we'll understand functions or function value. We'll speak something about domain and range. Then we will see what is the inverse of a function. As much as time we have, we'll try to see. Okay, so the first thing about function. What is a function? A function is like what you call is a, I'll not go by the mathematical book or what you call definition. A function is something like a magic pot. A magic pot, okay, where you will give some sort of an input. We will give an input, and based on the magic pot, the way you have configured this magic pot, I'll say we have configured, it's like a AI made cooking vessel. The way you have configured it, you're going to get your outputs. So obviously, one thing that we should understand is the outputs are dependent on the inputs. Number one. Number two, there should also be a set criteria for the input. You just can't push anything inside, right? Suppose this magic pot is going to cook something like pulao or biryani. You can't put atta from this side or flour from this side. It has to be rice. So everything can't be an input, but whatever can be an input, there will always be an output out of it. Whatever will be an input, we will always get an output out of it. Okay? Now, functions are denoted in mathematics. The first letter with which we denote function is f. Okay, and functions can be later, you will see, can be denoted by the letter G, can be denoted by the letter H. These are all possible. Can also be denoted by the letter R. But initially, we will keep our understanding restricted to functions being denoted by the letter f. And we say for every function, we have to have something which is known as a variable. Variable, right? Variable. And this variable will be massaged in a form in which we will create the function. Let us give a small example. Let us say I take a function where I say I define my function as something called, say, 2x. So x is the variable, and you have massaged x with a 2x with a scalar, and this is called a function in variable x. What did I write? A function in variable x, f of x. Now let's try to put it in this magic pot. Okay, so your function for this magic pot is f of x is equal to 2x. F of x is equal to 2x. F of x equal to 2x. That means anything that I enter from this side, anything that you give me an output, the output is going to come, sorry, as an input, the output will become 2 times the input. Is this clear? Now we said that can everything be my input? There is also a criteria. So we say f of x is equal to 2x, and we write here that x belongs to the real number family or set of real numbers. Real number family. What are real numbers? Real numbers are numbers from minus infinity to plus infinity. Is 2.54 a real number? Yes. Is negative 2.54 a real number? Yes. Is 0 a real number? Yes. So real numbers means real numbers are everything from negative infinity to infinity, right? So we are going to input what from here? We're going to input any real number. What is the output you will get? 2 times the input. Now I can restrict my input also. I can restrict my input. I'm saying now like this. I'm defining my function f of x. Sorry, I am defining my function. I'm defining my function as f of x equal to 2x, where I say x. Now what did I write? Belongs to. Belongs to. Itna we won't be writing so much of language. Belongs to is replaced by this Greek letter called epsilon. E like this. Belongs to. Real number family, we won't write so much. We'll just write it R. X belongs to R. That means X belongs to the real number family. Now out here I say that I have a function f of x equal to 2x. X belongs to Z. Z stands for integer family. Okay. Z stands for integer family. It can also be, so R stands for the real number family. Okay. Then Z stands for integer family. What are integers? All natural numbers, their negative corresponding numbers, and 0 included. Okay. Q stands for rational numbers. Usually these are the things that we use in algebra, and integers further classify as plus Z minus Z. I hope you understand what is plus Z and minus Z if Z is an integer. So what is a function? A function is like a magic pot in which I can have an input, and every input will give me a corresponding output, and the inputs need to be defined. Everything cannot be my input. As I said, if this magic pot is cooking something of a cereal dish, I cannot enter flour from that side. It has to be rice grains which have to be entered, and based on the configuration of the magic pot, you will get an output. Is this much clear? Okay. Now, what is the use of functions in mathematics? The entire world of calculus and everything that you learn from now is basically on functions. Let us say you go to a Ratnadeep store and you are buying mangoes. The mangoes are priced at 100 rupees a kilo. So what is the price that you are going to pay? Let's see. What is the price that you are going to pay? The price that I'm going to pay will always be 120 multiplied by x plus say 5 rupees for the carry bag. Do you agree? This is also a function. In commerce and business studies, they will write it as P of x, where P of x is a price function. Holds true for any input of x. Now what will we write here? X, where x is greater than or equal to 0. You cannot buy mangoes which are negative in quantity. So for every function, we have to give a defined input. Are we clear on this? For every function, we have to give a defined input. The type of functions that you are understanding here are simple algebraic way. Is this much okay with anyone? Okay. So let's go one step further to this. Okay. Now, as we go further on functions, we need to understand few things. So far, what do we know? A function should have an input, and a function will also give you an output. Okay. Later on, we'll say, how do you understand whether a function is defined or not? Is the function a function or not? How do we know whether it's a function or not? Okay. Now, first, let us understand what are the types of functions that we have. Types. Any branch of mathematics that you study, right from here to high end, functions are of this type only. ILATE, ILATE, where I stands for inverse functions. Okay. L stands for logarithmic functions. A stands for algebraic functions. T stands for trigonometric functions, and E stands for exponential functions. Based on what you have studied so far and the knowledge that you have, we are going to explain you functions only on the basis of algebraic and trigonometric. Rest you don't know right now. Okay, algebraic and trigonometric. So what's an algebraic function? An algebraic function will be a function which will be in the form of an algebraic expression, like f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. Is it an algebraic function? Yes, it's an algebraic function. Any function which is shown in an algebraic expression format is an algebraic function. Okay. Now, let's go with some easy examples of function. Let's say f of x is equal to 2x, our very sweet little function. F of x is equal to 2x. Okay. And I say that what are the output function? F of x means this will be giving me an output. What is the input? Input you are going to enter for x. Get me the output of this function for x such that means colon, such that x belongs to the natural number family. Understood? X belongs to the natural number family, and we say x is greater than equal to 1, less than equal to 4. See, this is how you write in calculus mathematics. You have written a lot of English words out here. X, such that x belongs to n, and this is what I have defined where x should be. Right? It means what? It means x can take the values 1, 2, 3, and 4. Have you understood this? Right? Okay. Now we try to show you functions in the form of images. This is the easiest way to understand function. Anda anda bana lo do. Okay. So your book will not show this diagram, but this is how it happens. This is your function f of x, which is equal to 2x. This is the magic that you are going to do. What is this side? This side is known as the input. This is my input and this is my output. Okay, understood? Now, my inputs can be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? What are the outputs I'm going to get? Just put for x equal to 1, what is the output? 2. 2. 2. For x equal to 1, the output that we get is 2. Have you understood? Right. So we'll get an output here also, we'll get an output here also, we'll get an output here also. Now let's see. For 2, you get 4. For 3, you get 6. For 4, you get 8. This is your function mapping. Have you understood? What are these? These are the possible values of input. Acha. If I would have taken my input, considering that I have defined it that it should be a natural number, right? Sir, why didn't you take 2.54? 2.54 cannot be classified as the input because the function does not allow me to take 2.54. Have you understood? What is the output? The output always depends on what input you have taken. All the possible inputs are known as the domain of the function. Domain. Your book will say what goes in. What goes in, or in better mathematical language we say all possible values of x, or in other words the input, all possible values of x is known as your domain. Okay, हमें domain range भी calculate करना है in many functions, and all the outputs that you get for each corresponding input, this is known as your range. This is known as your range. All the outputs for the possible input. We have not studied set right now, but if we study set, we say what is domain? Domain is the set of all possible input. Output, range is this set of all outputs for each possible input. For our class, we need to understand what is domain and what is range. So what is domain? Domains is the set of all possible input. Sir, how will I get to know the domain? The function itself will define you what is domain. And we will see a lot of examples now. And what is range? For every possible input, the output that you get, the set of all output is known as. So if somebody tells me that find the domain, if somebody tells me find the domain of this function, I'll say my domain is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. And somebody tells me find the range of this function, my range is equal to 2, 4, 6, 8. Very easy way to understand. Have you understood? The type of function we are seeing out here are algebraic functions. Clear? Functions, the type of functions we will see. Now question arises, sir, can you have restricted domains and all? Let's try and see that. Can I go to the next page? Okay, let's take some functions now. Let's say I have a function f of x. What do we call it as? F of x, a function of x. Function of x, that means x is the input and the function will cook the input and give you an output, whereas the variable will always say f of x is equal to, say, sine of x. F of x is equal to sine of x, right? We have also already plotted this function also. Let's see, how did we plot this function? Let's go back to plotting this function. Graphic plot. F of x equal to sine of x. Okay, so this function we can plot from minus r to plus r. Just think yourself, minus r to plus r means real numbers. minus infinity to plus infinity. So minus infinity to plus infinity, when you plot a function, when you're getting late, try to join online or whatever it is. No, that's fine, but how are you saving time? This is a new topic. You put yourself in my shoe. When somebody teaches in front of somebody, the bags will open, you'll take out copies, you'll study, arrange yourself. I know you might have a reason for your school getting late or whatever it is. Yeah, please.
We did functions, and I asked you a question about the inverse. Are we going to do that here?
Yeah, this year you have inverse.
So we will find the inverse.
We'll find inverse of everything. Inverse of every function we'll calculate. Don't worry. Okay. So let's see this function. And our function this time is f of x is equal to sine of x. Now, how does a sine function look like? Well, a sine function usually plots like this, right? Where the maximum value is always +1 and the minimum value is -1. Agreed. Now, what are the possible inputs for a sine function? Any real number can be an input. Just see, any real number is your input. You can put whatever input you want for sine function. Sir, is sine 0 defined? Yes, sine 0 is 0. Sir, is sine -228 defined? Yes, defined. Everything is defined function. Are you getting it? Right. So when you try to understand domain, and we say that domain are all the possible inputs for a function, then let's take a function f of x equal to, say, tan x. What does tan x mean? Sin x by cos x. Got it? Denominator of an expression can never be 0. I hope you know this format, okay? You cannot have a format a by b where b equals to 0. If b equals to 0, then we call this in mathematics as indeterminate. I have told it many times, indeterminate. We can't determine this. This is an indeterminate format. Means the denominator cannot be 0. Think cos of what is 0? Cos 90 is 0. Still not memorized, eh? Cos 90. Cos 90 is equal to 0. That means this function loses its definition if x takes the value as 90 degree. If x takes the value as 90 degree, this function will lose its, but is tan a function? Yes, tan is a function. You remember how tan functions used to be? Just imagine. Say this is 0 and this is pi by 2. Okay, you don't know pi by 2. Okay. Okay. This is, say, 90 degree and this is negative 90 degree. Remember how the tan function used to be? It used to be an asymptote. Tan is never defined for 90. Not parallel. This is called an asymptote. It will become very close. It's called an asymptote. It will never touch, but it will go close. Is a tan a defined function? Yes, tan is a defined function. But is there a restriction criteria in the domain? Yes, there is a restriction criteria in the domain. So when I define tan function, I will always say x not equal to what? 90 degree for x belonging to, say, 0 to 180 degree. In this range, you give any value for x, but don't take the value of 90 degree. Then this becomes undefined. Can we see such type of an example for an algebraic function? Yes, why not? Let us take a function f of x is equal to 2x plus 3 divided by x minus 3. In good mathematics books, it will always be written x not equal to 3. Because if you make x equal to 3, this function is not defined. Do you understand this also? That means when we take domains for this function, say suppose we are taking some input. Bhai aap kuch bhi le lo, 3 mat lena. In 3, the function is not defined. This gives birth to the next stage of mathematics. Then we say, can we not define it for 3? No, you can't define it for 3. Kuch to value hoga. Kuch bhi nahi hai. Sir, 2.99999999 mein defined hai? Yes, defined hai. 3.000000001, is it defined? Yes, defined. At 3, not defined.
Sir?
Yes.
But why is it not defined? Because it will be 0 though, right, sir? So it's not defined.
Anything, madam, the very basic of mathematics is, no, they all don't note down things. I've told you anything divided by 0 is not defined in mathematics.
Okay, sir.
That's the reason when you write tan 90, you write ND, or anything divided by 0 is infinity. So this function is not defined at 3. However, this function gets defined at what? Values. Just see, if for this function, if this is 3, the function is not defined here, but the function is very much defined here, very much defined here. This in higher class calculus we'll call as limiting value of a function. Don't cross your limit, we say. I will bear your nuisance to some limit. Beyond the limiting value, you can't pardon. Like we used to fight with my sister, and then we used to say, don't hit me. I said, I'm not hitting you. No, I'm not hitting you. I'm just putting my hand in front. And she's also eager that it should just touch her nose, then she'll slap me. And I'm also equally adamant that it will not touch. So this is called, we used to call this as a limiting slap. I'm not slapping you, but still you're getting the feeling of the slap. But you can't put a case on me because legally I have not touched you. So this is called limit value. जो हम आगे पढ़ेंगे when we go to calculus. Can you calculate the function value of this? No, sir, we cannot calculate. This function is not defined. But at 3, can we get some value? Yes, you can get a limiting value. वो सब नहीं पढ़ना है. ठीक है? Have we understood? So we understood now what is function. We understood what is domain. We understood what is range. And let's see some more mappings. Then it will become much more clear. And then your book part is very easy. Let's see how functions are defined or not. Okay. Now let's see, f of x is equal to, say, sine x, and we make some under diagrams. Okay, we make some under diagrams, and we say this is my input and this is my output. In other sense, we'll say this is my domain and this is my range. So I should fix what is my domain. So what domain do we take? We say x such that x belongs to the real number family, and x is equal to, we're specifying here, 0 degree, 30 degree, and 45 degree, 60 degree, and say 90 degree.
So what's the problem again?
X such that, x is defined x such that x belongs to this. Okay, so 0 degree, 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree, and this is my function mapping. We write as our function is sine x. So our microwave oven has been now configured to what program? Sine x program. Any food that you enter, it will cook in sine value. So sine of 0 gives me what? 0. Sine 30, half. Sine 45, 1 upon root 2. Sine 60, it will give me root 3 by 2. And sine 90, it will give me 1. So this is your range and this is your domain. Have we understood this? What is your range and what is your range? Is always going to come out on the basis of the possible inputs that you have taken. Now, a very interesting thing, again, which your book will not cover at this stage, but you should know. In a function, how to understand whether a given expression is a function or not at a very crude level, desi level, we understand. How do we understand? I wrote f of x is equal to sine x, and I said that this is a function. And I did not put any restriction at all. I did not put any restriction at all. Had I put f of x is equal to tan x, I will put a restriction. X cannot be 90 degree, because if x becomes 90 degree, my function is not defined. Now, second thing that you should understand when you go to grade 11 and all, and you see function diagrams, in a function diagram, always remember the input, one input can have more than one output. No. One input can have only one distinct output. Please understand. Let me draw this once again for you, and then it will become clear. So you'll understand which type of things are functions and which are not functions. So this is input and this is output. If they show you a mapping in any competitive exam like this, this in higher class is called a relation, not a function. Relation, not a function. And you just put it like this. Sine 30 cannot give me two values. But however, sine of two different angles can definitely be half. You know it. Sine pulsates. Sine 0, 0. Sine 0, 0. After that, sine 180, again 0. That means if you get something like this, if you get a mapping like this, in which the mapping is of this order, this is a function. This is a function. Later we will understand the type of these type of function in higher classes are called, these are not in your course, but I'm saying this because this is what you learn. This is called 1-1 function. 1-1 means 1 maps to 1. This is not a function. One guy cannot have two values. However, a single value can be mapped to two inputs. Very much possible. Sine 0, 0. Sine 180, 0. A function, if they show you some mappings and they tell you which of these are a function, in a function the criteria is one input can only have one distinct output. Sine 30 is how much? Half. Sine 30 cannot have any other value other than half. Sine 30 cannot have two values. This is not a function. Understood? Sine 0, 0. Sine 180, again 0. 0. So let's say if I show this in function format, say if I plot this as a function again, f of x equal to sine x, right? 0 degree, 180 degree. Both can map to 0. Sine 0, 0. Sine 180, 0. But can sine 30 be two values? No. Have you understood? This cannot be a function. This is a function. This is when you go to higher classes. So let's take some more examples, okay? Now I ask you something. You are habituated to doing this. Fx equal to root of x. In no good books of mathematics will you ever see this function. Why? Root x always throws two different values. What is root 25 equal to? Plus 5 minus 5. It cannot be a function. Say suppose we would have created a function like this. See, our function is f of x is equal to root x. Say for example, so if you take 25 out here, you should map plus 5, you should map minus 5. But we said a function, one input cannot have two output. Therefore, ये जो है ना, ये function नहीं है. This is not a function. This is not a function. Many people write f of x equal to root 25. No, f of x equal to root. But can we justify this to be a function? Can you justify this to be a function? We can say f of x is equal to root 25. However, fx is always greater than 0. Then justified. That means I am picking up only the positive output. Do you understand? Yeah. So in good books of mathematics, where they write f of x equal to square root as a function, they will always write disclaimer. Square root means the book by default considers only the positive values, because if you take the negative values, ये ऐसा हो जाता है. एक clarity से पढ़ेंगे आपको सब clear हो जाएगा. You will study at a much lower level, but try to understand this. ठीक है? Okay. Now, can you vertically think how to think in graphically, how not vertically, in graphically, how to understand whether something is a function or not, a given curve is a function or not, say. Okay, let's see some common things. Let's take a function, linear function, say ax plus b. This is linear function means its plot will always be a straight line. Do you agree? Let's take a function as f of x is equal to x square. X square function means it will be something like parabolic. Okay. If you take a function, say f of x is equal to x cube, it will be something like cubic. 3 bar ghumega. That's for basic understanding. How do we know graphically that these are functions or not? Very simple test. The test we do is called the vertical line test. Very simple. Any function is given to you, open the calculator. Okay, you should also understand a graphing tool. On internet, you'll get a graphing tool called, nothing is better than this, Desmos. Okay, Desmos is a lovely graphing tool. So you can enter your expression, it will immediately plot the graph. It will plot the graph. Now, how do you understand whether it's a function or not? Vertical line test. Let's just look at me. Say, suppose I plot this function, ax plus b. Okay, ax plus b is a function which will give me a plot like this. Vertical line test means just draw a vertical line. Just draw one vertical line wherever you want. The line should intersect my curve. Curve means, you understand, the function plot only at one distinct point. Only at one distinct point. Now, what did I mean by that? Okay, let's say it was not a straight line and an expression was given to me by Sahasra, which after plotting on Desmos gave me a shape like this, right? And somebody is asking, sir, ye function hai ki nahi? So what do? I straight away draw a vertical line. And I find that when I draw this vertical line, there is some value of x which is equal to, say, a, for which you are getting two outputs. We are getting two outputs. Not possible. This does not define a function. See, for x equal to a, this is also f of x. This is also f of x. So whenever we plot on graph, we call this as our x coordinate. We call this as our fx coordinate. Now this is f of x. So this is also f of x equal to a. So this is one function value. This is one function value. It's not possible. This much I wanted to share some basics of function before going with your book. Now let's go to your chapter wise. So in a function, one input can have only one output. However, two outputs can map to. One input cannot map to two outputs, but one output can map to two inputs. That is possible. Clear? Chaliye. Now let's see some basic. Enough. Now let's see what is a function value. Function value. Function value means value of a function. Value of a function. Value of which functions are also written in short form like this. You can also write like this. Value of a function for a defined input. And this is your level of mathematics. Absolutely easy. For a defined input. So the question will come like this. See, given a function f of x is equal to 2x plus 3. Do you understand? They will ask you to calculate, find the value of what is f of 2. What is f of 2? Very easy. F of x is how much? And I always do this in a very what do you say, crude method. My crude method will work everywhere. And as I spell the words, I'm writing it. F of x is equal to 2x plus 3, which means f of dog is equal to 2 into dog plus 3. You might laugh now, but you'll later see this will be so useful for you. F of cow, 2 cow plus 3. F of pakoda, 2 pakoda plus 3. Because x is a variable. F of kirtan, 2 kirtan plus 3. Have you understood? Keep this always in mind. Composite function workouts will be very easy. Otherwise, आप फंसोगे. 100% you will get falsified in composite functions. Okay, so we have to suppose to calculate f of 2. So we said, what is f of dog? 2 times of dog plus 3. So what do? We take 2, we put our input 2. Means whatever was x is replaced by 2 plus 3. Follow BODMAS, which is equal to 7. So we write f of 2 is equal to 7. But so easy. This type of problems you get. You'll be able to do all these. And these will be given to you in many problems where always check. Algebraics are very easy. Whenever it comes in rational format, do not do things like, say, for example, somebody gives you a function f of x is equal to x squared minus 9 divided by x minus 3. Calculate the value of f of 3. You will straight away say what? Sir, f of 3 is not defined because if I put 3 out here, 3 minus 3 becomes 0. Function is not defined. No. Buy, beg, borrow, steal and see whether the function can be still if there is a value or not. What you are not trying to see here is that f of x can still be written as x minus 3, x plus 3, and then x minus 3. X minus 3 cancels. it becomes x plus 3. This type of teasing they may do with you. Now, definitely, I do have a value of f of 3, which is equal to 3 plus 3 equal to 6. ऐसा ट्रिक भी करेगा. अब यहाँ में देख के मत बोल देना, no sir, we can't put 3 because if we put 3, it will become 0. No, check. And these are very common. Sometimes you may not get in this manner. You may get it in the format of a quadratic where middle term splitting is possible. Well, at your level, please understand, at your grade 9 level, if somebody has given you to calculate a function value where the denominator is becoming 0, that means there is a reducible component in that problem which your eyes still need to hunt. What happened, Kirtan? You are looking drowsy almost. Huh? Did you understand? These type of straight algebraic problems anyone can do. Rational problems we can do, but how will they trick us? They will trick us by giving us a rational problem in which apparently it will appear, sir, you said that denominator cannot be 0. How can I put 3? If somebody has given you this problem, then please understand there will be some factorizations and some terms will cancel out some terms. Finally, you will get it in a format in which, let's see one more function. F of x is equal to x minus 3 divided by 3. Calculate f of 3. Bolo. What happens, Ashmita? Sometimes camera on, sometimes off. If you want to eat also, I have no issues. My only two things are come on time and after that you eat Maggie, I have no issue. Can you have a value of f of 3? Is f of 3, can we calculate f of 3 for this function? 0 by 3. Does mathematics accept 0 by 3? Yes. 0 by 3 is accepted. 3 by 0 is not accepted. 3 by 0 is known as indeterminate. 0 by 3 is very much. 0 by 3 is a rational number. What is a rational number? A rational number is a number in the form of p by q, where p and q belong to integer and q cannot be equal to 0. P can definitely be equal to 0. Ye possible hai. Have we understood this? Okay, this type of 1 mark questions you can get, 1 or 2 mark question. If your luck is very good, they'll give you this type of questions. Otherwise, the type of questions that they will give you is either inverse, which Nidhi is waiting for, or composite. Generally, these types. Yeah, functions inside. That is called composite function. We'll get those. Those are most probable to come. But since your book has an exercise on this, in which we calculate function value. So how does the book go? The book will first have define you a little bit about function, which we have already done. Then the book will also tell you to calculate function values. So when you are calculating function values, keep your eyes fed when you get it in the rational form. Rational, and you for the first look, you see that it is indeterminate. Indeterminate means anything in the form of something, some a by 0 format. This will be cancelable or reducible. That means whenever it is coming in this format, keep in mind some factorization will be possible. Keep your eyes fed on that. Yeah. Right. Then there is another thing which hardly I have seen coming, which is known as flow diagram. Very irritating job. But since the book says, let us do. There's an exercise of flow diagram also. What's a flow diagram? Flow diagram means they tell you how this function looks like in a flow format. And we start with the variable. Flow. What is the flow? What is the flow? How do you calculate this? We have a variable. So how do we calculate this? We have a variable x to which we multiply 2 and to the product we add 3. So the same thing you have to do. It will be some block diagram. So we take x. X is our variable. Okay. Then what do? We say we multiply by 2. After that, what do? Whatever product you get, you add 3. And this is your function in the flow diagram.
This is the function machine. Like the slash function.
Function machine or flow diagram. Nobody will ask you I've not seen these questions coming up. Okay, these are very basics. No one, even if I have never learned this way. That does not mean that if you don't know this, these are some ruckus methodology. I mean, if you don't know these also, it's fine. You should know what. So do you understand what is a function and function value? Okay. Next comes composite function before we go to inverse. Or Nidhi, should we do inverse first? You've been waiting for inverse. Okay, let's see inverse. Inverse of a function. Okay, what is inverse of a function? Sine of 30 is equal to half. So we say, what is the inverse of the function? We say sine inverse sine 30 is equal to sine inverse half. Inverse is another function. I told you I. This is inverse function. Sine inverse sine 30. So how I always say it like this. Sine is a virus and it has infected somebody called 30. Now you have brought antivirus. If you bring antivirus with virus, 30 will become free. 30 becomes free. Yes or no? And this side we have what? Sine inverse half. So that's how we read it. If sine 30 is equal to half, sine inverse of half should give me 30 degree, right? So let's see, you won't get inverses for trigonometric, you will get inverse problems for algebraic. Now, how do we calculate inverse? To find inverse of a given function. उल्टा करना है. To find inverse of a function. There are two methods. One is again flow diagram. I have never learned in my life, and your book and course says you can do either way. So I will always say to go by the other way. Okay, before you go by the other way, let's learn once again in terms of axis. Whenever we plot a function, the x-axis is always taken as the input, the y-axis is always the output. Because so far we have been talking function only in terms of a variable x, because that's easy to understand. Sir, can this be f of t? Why not? V is equal to u plus at. There the function. Okay. Have you learned v equal to u plus at?
Yeah.
Yes. So we write it as v of t is equal to u plus at, where t is the variable. Velocity at the tth time is equal to the initial velocity for acceleration times the time. Displacement at the tth time is equal to ut plus half at square. That's why when you were doing your graph, you were doing a s and t graph. This is the input, this is the output. Vt graph. Is it becoming clear? So in normal format, whenever we say f of x equal to some ax plus b, f of x is also read as y, because y-axis, right? So if somebody says that I have a function f of x is equal to 2x, you can also write, implies that y is equal to 2x. Yes, because if we plot it in a diagram, x is the input, then y is the output. So f of x can also be understood as y. F of x equal to log x, y equal to log x. F of x equal to sin x, y equal to sin x. तो यहीं से आ जाता है, ठीक है? So we are now going to calculate, see flow diagram. Flow diagram is there in your book. I will not say that there is no problem to be solved by flow diagram. Everyone solves it by the other way. Okay, let's say we take a function f of x is equal to 2x plus 3. We will calculate its inverse step by step. Step number 1. How do we calculate inverse? We'll say let y equal to 2x plus 3. Let y equal to 2x plus 3. Then what do? We say interchanging the variables. Interchanging the variables. If you interchange the variables, we'll write x is equal to 2y plus 3. Just interchange the variable. And then try to find out what is y, that is your inverse. Now calculate for y. 2y is equal to x minus 3, or y is equal to x minus 3 by 2.
Can't you just make like y is up to the formula and then just
Same thing. This is how we do it actually.
Oh, is it x minus 3? Oh.
X minus 3 divided by 2. So we say, now we will write inverse of fx equal to 2x plus 3 is x minus 3 by 2. You multiplied by 2x and you added 3. Here you have subtracted 3 and then divided by 2. Just उल्टा काम किया है. Flow diagram में 2 into x plus 3. Here you have taken out 3 and then divided by 2. See, product के साथ you had added 3 in the function. So first thing is inverse means everything उल्टा. वीडियो कैसेट में जैसे पहले रिवाइंड करते थे ना, it's just a reverse play of the function. First multiply, get a product, add 3 with the product. So and that is the function value. That is the function value. There was an input, we multiplied by 2. Understand with my hands, where there was an input, we multiplied it by 2, we added 3, we got a product. So now we have the product. Inverse है ना, ये input हो गया, इससे 3 निकालो, फिर divide by 2 करो, तो ये आ गया भाई साहब. That is in flow diagram. Back. But flow diagram में एक दो ये सब calculate करना easy है. Let's take some complicated things. Okay, let's say f of x equal to 2x square plus 3x minus 4. अब इसको कैसे करोगे? हाँ, फैक्टराइजेशन है नहीं ये. चलो इतना पहले मेहनत नहीं करा. 2x square plus 3. Let's take only 2x square plus 3 as of now. So, but you should write your steps. Huh? How do you write the steps? Again, follow the procedure. Your book also explains this way. Y equal to 2x square plus 3. Interchanging the variables. So please interchange the variables. X is equal to 2y square plus 3, which gives me 2y square equal to x minus 3, or y square is equal to x minus 3, or y is equal to under root x minus 3 by 2 by 2. So finally you should write inverse of f of x equal to 2x square plus 3 is root under x minus 3 by 2. Just again think, it was with 3, you took out 3, you divided by 2, and finally you made square root of that. Are we fine on this? Then we have some exercises. We can do all exercises. Now we see composite functions, some composites. Now composites is the most interesting one that I like. Nidhi, we will try a lot of inverses now. There is time. Let's do composite. Then we are done with functions knowledge. Whatever gyan we needed, we have done. So we'll practice some, that f of 2 and f of 1 function value that you do on your own. Function value and flow diagram. I just get irritated with that. That you do on your own. So let's do some. Let's understand composite function. What is a composite cake? A cake which has got 2 flavors blended in it and then presented as one cake is known as a composite cake. Chocolate base, on that we can have a vanilla top. Okay, so let's say we have 2 functions. F of x is equal to say x square, and we have another function g of x which is equal to 2x plus 1. 2 different functions. One is an algebraic linear function, one is an algebraic quadratic function. Clear? They tell us find, your book will write like this, fgx. There are many notations to write, but I would say the best way to write it is f of g of x. F of g of x. Have we understood? F of g of x. Okay, let's come here. What is f of x equal to? X square. F of x is x square. F of dog is dog square. F of cow is cow square. F of g of x is g of x square.
Sir, could you repeat that?
F of x is x square. F of cow, cow square. F of dog, dog square. F of Nidhi, Nidhi square. F of g of x square. Don't write this step at school, okay?
Like, you just write it's a dog.
Don't write dog at school, you'll get dog marks only. Yeah. G of x square. But understand this, this is g of x squared. Means the gx function will be squared now. Now come, what is gx function beta? 2x plus 1. इसका स्क्वायर करना है, नहीं आता है तो चले जाओ. 4x square plus 4x plus 1. This is my f of g of x. Understood? Somebody now tells me, sir, can your dog formula fit in this one? G of f of x. G of f of x. What is g of x? Look at the board. What is g of x? What is g of x? What is g of cow? What is g of Dhruv? What is g of f of x? 2 of f of x plus 1. G of fx. अरे भूतनी के g के अंदर जो भी है वही यहाँ पे जाएगा. Once again, that's why I say go with me with the rhyme. What is g of x? What is g of x? What is g of cow? What is g of dog? What is g of f of x? So this is equal to 2 times f of x plus 1. इससे easy कोई फॉर्मेट नहीं है, आप बुक में जो भी देख लो. What is f of x? Can I just borrow your book? Some book questions we'll see. Okay. Some inverses. That's it for functions. And we have one chapter on sets. Sets will take 2 classes. Set is interesting. Okay. So we have done functions first. So let's do some function problems. Now, that is real interesting. Okay. I'm doing all type, everything. We've got 10 minutes or so. We'll try and see every single type of function. Let's try to find the inverse. Okay. Let's do some composite. Question 9, 10, 11. For question 20, 30. Okay, find the inverse. Let's go one quick inverse. One inverse. Based on Nidhi's request, one inverse. I will doing question number 16. We are doing question number 16, and we are doing question number 16 from exercise 11.4a. Given a function n of x, I'm writing it here, you concentrate on my board. Given a function n of x is equal to 4 minus x upon 3 plus 2. Be very specific how the BODMAS is working, otherwise you will get a 0. 4 minus x plus 2, right? So we're going to find the inverse. So what do we say? Let y be equal to what? 4 minus x by 3 plus 2. Then the next step is interchange variables. So please interchange the variables. What do you get? X is equal to 4 minus y by 3 plus 2, for which we say 4 minus y by 3 is equal to x minus 2, or we say 4 minus y is equal to 3x minus 6, or we say negative of y is equal to 3x minus 6 minus 4, or y should be equal to negative 3x plus 6 plus 4, or y is equal to 10 minus 3x. Therefore, inverse of nx is equal to 10 minus 3x. Now, these won't look that easy like your flow diagram, Kirtan, that we just took out 2, we did this. That easiness you won't see. Have you understood this part? 4 minus y is equal to 3x minus 6. So, y minus y is equal to 3x minus 6 minus 4. Y equal to minus 3x plus 6 plus 4 this. Clear? बाबू समझ में आया ये? Okay. One composite. Okay, let's take one composite. Yeah, they're not getting composite. Okay. Find the inverse. Okay, we'll take an interesting composite. F of x is equal to 2x square. F of x is 2x square. Then g of x is equal to x square plus 5x minus 3. Don't get excited. धीरे धीरे करेंगे. X square minus 3. Okay, this is problem number 12. Problem number 12. And we have a hx function also, which is given as cube root of x. Three functions have been defined to us. Okay, bacha? Okay. We have been asked to find out what is f of g of 2. Okay, f of g of 2 means they are asking us a function value at the end. भाई साहब इधर देखिए इधर f of g of 2 is finally a function value. So first we should know the parent function. So the parent function will be f of g of x. Once we calculate this function, then f of g of 2 is very easy. Okay, what is f of x? Tell me. F of x, f of x, f of cow, f of dog. So f of g of x. Let's go. So 2 into g of x whole square. Understood? So 2 times we have got x square plus 5x minus 3. Do you know a plus b plus c whole square formula or not? A square plus b square plus c square plus 2ab plus 2bc plus 2ca. So a square plus b square plus c square plus 2ab plus 2bc plus 2ca. Have you understood? ये सबको 2 से multiply कर दो. 2x4, do we have any x4? No, we don't have. Then we have an x cube term. So get the x cube term, this becomes 20x cube. So this gone, this gone. Then we have a x square term. 25 minus 3 is how much? 22. 22 multiplied by 2 is 44x square. And then we have a 9 which becomes, we have a negative 30 which becomes negative 60x, and we have plus 18. So this value has come up. F of g of x has come up. Now you need to calculate f of g of 2. So that is left to you to calculate 2 to the power 4 plus 20 into 2 cube. Obviously this will be a calculator exercise for you. Minus 60 into 2 plus 18. समझ में आया? That's it. There can be some calculation mistake. I'm not good at that. Yes, tell me. 2ab plus 2bc plus 2ca. So this is wrong first of all. This should be 6x square. Okay. हाँ तो ये गलती है, ये सुधार लेना, ये मेरा प्रॉब्लम है. 6x square और 25x square करेंगे तो कितना आ जाएगा? 18. नहीं, 19. Yeah, 19 then multiplied by 2 will become 38. So this will become 38. Anything else is a mistake? But have you understood how to do it? Minus 6x square. 6x square becomes 21, 25 and 6 is 19. So this becomes plus 38x square. So plus 38 into 2 square. Pass. So give a try. What type of problems you will try? You'll try with the very easy ones. So your problems will start first with function value. I think this is the most kiddo part. Then you will have flow diagrams. These never come in examination. I have not seen them coming, but please practice. They may give it in your school. But for inverse flow diagram is not possible every time. Then third, how to calculate inverse. And fourth, how to calculate composite functions. Along with this, there can be some small caveat with you before function value. They may also ask you to find out or identify what is domain and what is range. They will give you the domain. They will specify the function and they'll give you the domain also. Function is 2x plus 3. Domain 1, 2, 4, 5. एक एक का वैल्यू डालो और रेंज निकाल दो. हाँ 10 मार्क्स में ऐसे नहीं आएगा. This will get, you will have calculus, differentiation and all are there. They will punch. This is just like preparing hot water. The end thing you have to make is something like a pudding or something. So the whole Cambridge will not give you this. This will be a part of a 10-mark question where you'll have differentiation, then you'll have function, value, calculate this. But at this grade, at this level, what you're studying, you might just only get this as a question. So I would suggest do your exercises and please come prepared by the next class, because our next class is on Tuesday, and Tuesday we again go with what did you study yesterday? First finish your course. Geometry. Tuesday we go again with geometry. And before you come on Tuesday, you should be done, at least practice, put your hands on what? Those angle problems, line problems and triangle problems, because our next job will be to go to circles. And all that we have covered, I have uploaded all question banks. Start doing.